Greetings. Welcome back to my channel, Ham Radio Test and Review. My name is Dave, and my call sign is November 8 Delta Alpha Victor. My name is in my call sign. Today, we're testing the Radtel RHD-771S tri-band antenna. It is designed for the 2 meter, 70 centimeter, and 1.25 meter bands. It is about 13.5 inches long. I measured it myself. It is a rubberized whip antenna, highly flexible with a plastic tip. It comes with the SMA female connector. However, I don't know if it comes with an SMA male or with a BNC or any of the other type of connectors that might be available. From the factory, it's specified as 50 ohms, less than 1.5 SWR, but it does specify something strange. It says that SWR is at the halfway point, 122 megahertz. So I'm not quite sure exactly what that means, but we'll find out what the real SWR is as we do our testing. The factory specifies it as a 20 watt maximum, and also it does not specify if it's a resonant on any frequencies or if it's a quarter wave, half wave, or 5/8 wave antenna. And it also specifies that the gain is 2.15 dB. I bought this antenna on Amazon for $7.99. So we'll see how well an $8 antenna does with the testing today. I have the antenna right here. I've labeled it so I don't forget what it is in case I lose the packaging to it. But I want you to know it came with a little red rubber grommet like this. This is not a very good rubber grommet. It doesn't fit the antenna properly. So you can use it, you can put it on, but I guarantee you as soon as you take the antenna off, you're going to end up losing the grommet. It's going to fall right off. So I suggest that you get a better one if you're going to use a little grommet for the antenna. The antenna, as you can see though, has a permanent bend in it. It's very slight, but it came this way from the factory. I can tell you I didn't happen in shipping because the box was definitely bigger than the antenna itself. The antenna was not bent over. And I didn't do this myself. It did come this way. It does come with a kind of a cheap yellow packaging. As you can see, it's just kind of a typed out label. It doesn't really say very much, and they're not trying to set it off as another type of antenna like a Nagoya or a Comet or a Diamond. It definitely is sold by Radtel, and it has the Radtel name on it. And so let's sit back and relax and see how things come out with the tests. Enjoy. Here is our first test of the Radtel RHD-771S tri-band antenna. And we are testing on the 2 meter calling frequency. We have an SWR of 1.66 and a power output of 4.19. Next up is our test of the Radtel RHD-771S tri-band antenna on the 70 centimeter calling frequency. And we end up with an SWR of 1.02 with a power output of 4.22 watts. Next up, we're testing on the 1.25 meter band on the national calling frequency. We have an SWR of 1.37 at 6.38 watts. Because I know you're going to ask for it, and for shits and giggles, we are testing now on the GMRS band, and we are getting an SWR of 1.1, oh, it keeps going back and forth, 1.12 at 3.82 watts. Next set of tests, we are using the calibrated Nano VNA, and our first set of tests is going to be on the 2 meter band from 144 to 148 megahertz. And as you can see, we are at 1.923 at the center of the band. At the low end of the band, we are at 1.996, and at the high end of the band, we're at 1.892. Next up, we will analyze the antenna on the 70 centimeter band. And we find that we have at the center of the band an SWR of 1.521. At the low end of the band, we are at 1.604. And at the high end of the band of 1.642. Next up, we are going to analyze this antenna on the 1.25 meter band. That's 220 megahertz to 225 megahertz. And we're interesting flat curve here. Notice that at the high end of the band, our SWR is 2.001. At the center of the band, we are at 1.726. And at the low end of the band, we are at 1.348. And because I know you're going to ask for it, and for shits and giggles, we are going to test this on the GMRS band as well. We got a nice flat curve here. At the low end of the band, we are at 1.933. At the center of the band, we are at 1.911. And at the high end of the band, we are at 1.965. Now we're going to perform our field strength test using the Radtel RHD-771S antenna on our Baofeng UV17 Pro GPS. And we are on high power. And here we go on the 2 meter calling frequency. Our next test is on the 70 centimeter calling frequency. Next up is our field strength test on the 1.25 meter band. And for shits and giggles, we're going to do the same field strength test on the GMRS band, channel 16. We're out here at my favorite park. I've chosen this park, as you all know, because I live up in the mountains and I don't have any flat land to be able to test maximum distance on an HT antenna. So I've chosen this particular location because I have several hills, buildings, power lines, and a power station in between here and my base station. So I'm going to make a transmission to my base station. I don't know how this is going to work. It may turn out well, it may turn out not so good, and it may not make it at all. However, I've chosen this location because regular OEM rubber duck antennas do not make it back to my base station from this location. So if the antenna is going to make it to my base station and report back with a signal of any type, we'll rate that signal and hopefully it will make it back and we'll see how it works. We're going to make a signal test using my UV17 Pro GPS with the Radtel RHD-771S antenna. This is a test. This is a test. This is only a test of the Radtel RHD-771S HT antenna. This is only a test, N8DAV. This is a test. This is only a test of the Radtel RHD-771S HT antenna. This is only a test, N8DAV. So as you heard, a little bit of sizzle coming in with the signal. Actually, it's not bad. As you can hear, modulation's good, clarity is good. So I would probably rate this about a 7 out of 10, almost as good as the Nagoya NA320A that we tested in a previous video. So it's actually doing pretty good, considering it's a little bit shorter and, it doesn't have the brand name behind it like the Nagoya. It's actually doing very well. Next test coming up. All right, the next and last test we're going to do with this antenna is we are going to try and hit a repeater on the 1.25 meter band, approximately 25 miles away as the crow flies. Normally, I'm able to hit this repeater from here, usually with some quietings, maybe some not so good quieting. It depends upon the antenna. And every once in a while, I'm able to get a radio check from somebody. It's not a very well used repeater, but sometimes I can find somebody out there. So let's try it now. This is N8DAV, looking for a radio check. Is anybody out there for a radio check? This is N8DAV. Let's try one more time. This is N8DAV, looking for a radio check. I'm testing out a Radtel RHD-771S HT antenna, and I'm looking for a radio check. Does anybody hear me? Okay, well, nobody out there to give me a radio check. However, I think hearing the repeater coming back to me, it was pretty good quieting. So I would say that this antenna is able to hit repeaters 25 miles away, and it's actually done a pretty good job. So I'll come back with the rest of my feelings and my opinions about this antenna in the next segment. So what can we conclude from all the testing that we've done today? Well, with SWR, we got on all four bands under 2.0, which is very good for an HT antenna. We actually did fairly well on the antenna analyzer. We got some pretty good curves on the nano VNA. And also with the field strength test, we actually did fairly well. We did not beat the Nagoya NA320A, which we tested previously. I believe that the SWR was a little bit better on that antenna, and also the field strength tests were definitely better with the Nagoya NA320A. So the difference is that the Radtel antenna is 13.5 inches long, and the Nagoya was just under 17 inches long. So we're about 2.5 inches difference. So, we're looking at, a little bit better antenna with the Nagoya. It might be because of the length. Maybe it's a little bit better antenna quality-wise. I'll leave that up to you to decide. But for the price, this antenna cannot be beat. This is $7.99 on Amazon. You really can't beat that. Now, if you're looking for a slightly shorter antenna than the standard 18, 19-inch long antennas, then this might be the antenna for you. I would highly consider this antenna. It did very well on the real world test out in the field. I rated it a 7 out of 10. The previous antenna, the Elsing, I rated a 6 out of 10, and the Nagoya I rated a 9 out of 10. So you can see that it's not quite up to the performance of the Nagoya, but for $7.99 compared to $20 for the Nagoya, I think you'll find that this would be a good alternative. Anyway, this is Dave, N8DAV, Ham Radio Test and Review, saying so long.